Okay, hi guys. I thought we would talk today briefly about this whole idea of ascension. Ascension is such a quantum, hard to wrap your head around topic, but it is going to affect everybody on this planet, and we may as well jump in and see what we can make sense of and what we can't. So I am taking the sum up of this little talk from the channeled writings titled The Law of One, which was channeled in the early 1980s. However, I will go on record by saying there are lots of spiritual teachers out there who are saying very, very similar things. William Henry, you have David Wilcock. There's also lots of esoteric writings, lots of biblical text. You have secret space insiders like Corey Goode, who are all kind of putting together these little pieces of the puzzle, and it's working out this really nice correlation. So understanding that I don't have it all figured out, and no, I don't predict the end of these kind of things, but I will sum it up. We are collectively, as humanity, a third density awareness. We need to progress to fourth density. It is all part of the journey of how we learn to become responsible creators. Fourth density is the love vibration. Now, at fourth density, you still have good and bad. However, keep that in mind that whether you love yourself or you love others dominantly, you are still loving part of the divine. And so from its perspective, it's still fine. The idea is that at third density, we're in the conflict. And we have to pick a side. We kind of get in that trap of the conflict. And so what's needing to happen is, as we see these crazy things happening around us on the planet, we're supposed to be going within and figuring out, where do I fall in this? What are my thoughts about this? How can I help? How can I not help? Do I care? Do I not care? And it's meant to move us into a direction, either service to self, where it's all about me, or service to others, where it's all about the greater good, regardless of what my personal needs are. In order to polarize, to get into fourth density in the first place, you have to be totality-wise. So to be service to self, it's 95% service to self. You would have to be able to obtain. And service to others would be 51% or more service to others, whereas your fueling factor is the greater good. If you don't polarize, those who are left at third density will continue their soul's journey on another third density planet, because as is explained in the Law of One and correlated nicely with a lot of other esoteric writings, is that you only have so long on a given planet to learn what you need to learn before planet hopping. So, as it's explained, you've got 3 major cycles. Each cycle is approximately 26,000 years. The end of the first cycle here on this planet, nobody progressed to fourth density. Second cycle comes and goes, and only about 150 people progress into fourth density. Now, of those 150 people, they were visited, as it is explained, by a high vibration shiny being, and it explained to them what the purpose is here and helping the planet and other people progress, and they all chose to stay at third density to help the others on the planet rather than for them to progress to fourth density. Those are what became, as we understand it, ascended masters. That's how they explain it. Now, here we are toward the end of the last third major cycle, and this is where it gets really interesting, because as the Law of One explains it, there will be a confluence of energy that moves through our solar system, very much like a perfectly timed clock. It is meant to reset. And so when this confluence of energy comes through, it's going to do a dimensional split. How that happens, I don't know, but I have read and heard quite a bit about the photon itself is being reformatted. Now, the photon is what is responsible for everything, right? It is the building block of matter. And so right now when we're sitting in a chair, the photon is working to make us a chair. But if that photon, if that building block changes, then the chair would have to change. Into what? I don't know, because we have no written record as to what this looks like, and we're completely going on blind faith. Which is interesting, because at third density, we're supposed to be on blind faith. We are not supposed to know for sure if there is or is not a God. That is part of our catalyst into seeking further information. So it isn't supposed to be easy. We're not supposed to have proof, and it's a trap when you try to prove something. You're trying to come from intellect, which is part of the human experience, but ego is attached to that. And so when we say, well, I'm not going to believe anything until I see it, you're falling into the trap, because it isn't about first having proof and then believing it, right? The idea is for you to believe, to have faith that there is something bigger outside of yourself, and then you begin to see the signs around you, which then propels you more forward into getting into that polarization of fourth density readiness. So here we are at the end of the third density, and as it is explained, a confluence of energy comes through our solar system, resets the whole thing. You will have what is referred to a three-way split. Now, to sum it up, and granted, there's deeper explanations in the Law of One writings, but I'm trying to sum it up for you. Those who have polarized 95% or more to service to self will go elsewhere. How? No idea. Spaceship comes down and gets them. They're beamed off somewhere. The dimensions split for them as well. I don't know. It's just explained that they are taken elsewhere to live out their fourth density service to self incarnations and continue down that journey until their soul decides it's ready for a new experience. The ones who are service to others oriented, at least 51%, will stay on this planet, but in a different dimension. That dimension is said to be pristine, renewed, clean, and already have beings there to help us acclimate to this awareness. Those who did not polarize to service to self or service to others are still stuck at third density, and they will be removed from the planet to finish out their incarnation on another third density sphere or planet and continue their third density incarnations until they are ready to progress to fourth density. What happens with Earth after that? It seems to be like after the split, that is when these pole shifts happen and the ice caps melt and things are kind of reset, renewed, restored for Earth's next cycle. At least that's what people are anticipating. That being said as well, though, it could be that part of that whole pole shifting, ice caps melting is part of it right before the split. But the split is said to happen in a blink of an eye. Two people walking in the field, and then there's just one. That God will know you by your vibration, by your heart. And remember, the heart emits the strongest electromagnetic frequency of the body. So if you think that you're a good guy because you give your neighbor a beer after he lends you his lawnmower, but you're still carrying racism in your heart, your little good deed over here does not cancel out. So it really is an opportune time for all of us to really look at where are our hang-ups and how can we get over them and how can we polarize, assuming you are looking to polarize to service to others. How can we get the ego out of the way and serve the greater good, serve the divine? Because we're at this window of opportunity. Maybe it'll happen in our lifetime. Maybe it'll happen in our kids' lifetime. Nobody has the exact answer. Everybody is speculating. However, what is interesting is, according to Corey Good, the secret space insiders and the government insiders are all saying that the cabal are expecting something massive to happen with the sun between 2018 and 2023. So that is a little 5-year window that's coming up. Now, I don't know if that's right or not, but I do know that being we are spiritual beings on a journey, it would behoove us, regardless if the split happens in this lifetime, to polarize to one or the other. So at very least, we're progressing. But if that does happen, you've got the selfish ones going one place, the unawakened ones going someplace else, and then you have those of us on the planet who have been able to polarize to service to others, living on this planet in a different dimension, along with other enlightened beings. Can you even fathom how crazy that is? And yet, when you study rainbow body and different forms of Buddhism out of Tibet and other esoteric teachings, you see that we are a soul that is encased in flesh. And it is for us, and it is meant to be for us. And so, I would encourage all of you to soul seek and figure out where you're getting hung up at, how you can overcome those hang-ups, and how you can be of service to others. Keeping in mind that it is not for you to go find the ones who need help. It's not for you to leave your place up here and go into the crazy. It is for you to align with the idea that you seek to serve and allow the divine to send situations to you where you can help with your own unique gifts. This is not about being a healer. This is not about being a life coach. This is not about doing anything like that. It's about being you. Being you in your own unique way. So whether you are having coffee or hanging curtains or sitting in an airplane, you are radiating love and a willingness to serve the greater good. And that is how you polarize to service to others. Okay. So if this message or I resonate with you, please feel free to check out my other videos. And I have a book on Amazon.com titled Calling All Dreamers if you'd like to check it out. Otherwise, we'll talk later, and good luck on your journey. Namaste.